Welcome to Elk Spy. On this channel, I share all of my experience about elk hunting in Oregon and Washington, and I talk about everything that I do, all of the techniques that I use, and everything that works for me, as well as the mistakes that I have made before, so you can avoid making the mistakes and have a more successful hunt. My name is Eugene, and I grew up in Oregon hunting with my dad. Now I hunt Oregon and Washington. I hunt both general tags for both states. So I have not hunted controlled tags on the eastern side of the states. I do general over-the-counter tags. And in this video, I wanted to talk about rifle hunting versus archery hunting. The things that I wanted to discuss are the season, when it is, how long it is, the amount of hunting pressure during the rifle season versus the archery season, and the time of year that both of these seasons happen, so you can have more information to decide if you want to rifle hunt or archery hunt, or maybe you already are doing rifle hunting and you want to try archery hunting, just so you can learn more about both of these type of hunts that happen in Washington and Oregon, and I'm sure other states as well. And obviously rifles are more popular, and there's a lot more rifle hunters than archery hunters, because everybody looks at archery hunting as the hardest thing. You have to work harder, you have to find the animals, you have to get within range, and these are the things I'm going to discuss in this video. So I started out hunting with a rifle, but I've never shot a bull with a rifle. And in my family, it was just me and my dad who hunted. And by now I have more experience than him. And it's hard when you don't have somebody that you can learn from if your family has not hunted. I didn't have uncles or a grandpa who could teach me everything, so I had to learn from my dad. But he had kids, so I started going by myself and gained more experience and started killing more animals than my dad. So I still solo hunt a lot, but with a rifle, during the rifle season, there's going to be 3 times more hunters than during the archery season. And if we just look at Oregon statistics of last year, 2024 and 2023, they're very similar. There was around 60,000 rifle hunters and roughly 20,000 archery hunters. So that's why I'm saying there's 3 times more rifle hunters than archery hunters. This is Oregon. I'm sure Washington, Colorado, Wyoming, they're probably more similar in their statistics. And I just hated the hunting pressure that happens every season during the rifle season and every year. And it's like, it frustrates you because you choose spots that you want to go to. You get there and there's like 10 trucks parked, or you get there and they lock the gate and you can't get to your actual hunting spot. And I decided I've always wanted to try archery hunting, and I decided one day, I was like, you know what? Either I'm gonna do it, give it a shot, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I have nothing to lose. Or I'm gonna love it so much, I'm gonna forget about rifle hunting and I'm gonna just switch to archery for everything. And that's kind of what happened. Once I started archery hunting, I realized that it is harder. You do have to work harder and hunt smarter. The thing is that when I was rifle hunting, you're constantly, you can shoot like 400, 500, 600 yards. So you're constantly watching out for animals at that range, like 400, 500, 600 yards. And I kept busting animals real close, 50 yards, 100 yards, 200 yards. You keep busting them because you're not looking for them over here. You're trying to see them way farther out than they actually are. And I kept making that mistake, just busting them, and they would just run away. And I didn't like it. And when I switched to archery hunting, I realized the first thing you learn is that you have to be way more aware, both close and far, because your range is limited. I can only shoot like comfortably 45, 50 yards, and you're constantly aware of what's within that range, as well as you're looking out farther to see what's out there when you're glassing on or when you're calling. So that's the first thing that I learned, is that when you switch to archery hunting, you have to become a better hunter. It doesn't get easier, it actually gets harder. So you have to scout smarter, you have to call better, you have to set up better. You're always watching out for your setup and the wind, because you can't afford to get winded, because your hunt is over when the elk smells you. And that's the first thing that I learned, is that you have to become smarter, and you immediately get better because you have no choice. You're limited on range that you can shoot, 40, 50, 60 yards, whatever. And because of that, you're more aware of what's around you and you see more animals, and you get within range because you have to. Rifle hunting, you don't have to. You can shoot 300, 400, 500 yards. So most of my time I spend glassing, and when I would hike through the thick stuff, animals would run away, and I couldn't see them when I was glassing because they were in the thick timber. So the hunting pressure that I experienced with rifle hunting, especially Oregon and Washington, that it's pretty tough because there's a lot of trucks driving around, there's a lot of people walking around, and the one thing is that gunshots, as soon as animals start hearing gunshots, there's hunters. They know that they're being pressured. They feel that on opening morning, there's suddenly like so many trucks driving around in the forest, which is unusual for them. So they don't go into the openings. Let's see, another thing is that when I was rifle hunting, you're hunting probably late October and November, and you have 2 seasons. You have first rifle, second rifle, and you constantly have to choose, do I want to go first, and there's more people are going to go during the first rifle season, or do I want to go second to have less pressure, but then the animals are spooked from the previous weekend. But still, there's still going to be 3 times more people hunting with rifles than with archery, just because archery is less popular. And in Oregon, at least, there's 20,000 archery hunters per year for elk and 60-something thousand rifle hunters, which is a lot, because if you take one unit and there's 3,000 hunters, that means 5,000 hunters. That means that pretty much every camping spot is going to be taken, every logging road is going to be driven, every trailhead is going to be walked on. There's going to be people shooting rifles, and the week before that, everyone goes into the forest to scout, and they make a lot of noise, and everyone goes to sight on their rifles, and they just keep shooting all over the place. So that's why I got tired of rifle hunting, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try archery hunting, see if it's for me, or if it's so complicated I don't want to do it. I went to the store, bought a nice archery setup with sight, with release, with the rest, everything, and started shooting, and I actually loved it so much that now if I do go rifle hunting for elk, most likely it's going to be after I already hunt archery for Oregon, then Washington, and want a third tag in a different state. I'll probably do that next year. But again, I'm going to experience that hunting pressure from hunters all over the place, hunting during bad weather because it's November, there's going to be a lot of snow, or it's just going to be pouring rain. And also, that's another thing, the weather, because archery hunting is in September, and usually it's in September, and the weather's pretty warm. You can camp out in your tent. You don't have to pack a lot of gear. I almost never pack my rain gear unless it's towards the end of the month and it's actually starting to rain and it's cold. I do enjoy, it's easier to move around when the weather's nice. You wake up a little earlier, you can hike farther because the weather's nice. You don't have to pack so much stuff with you. And honestly, during the archery season, I actually don't pack my binoculars anymore because I do all of my calling, locating bulls, I do it all with my bugle, by bugling. And if I do hear a bull far, I'm gonna close the distance pretty quickly. So I'm not trying to like scope him out from 500 yards away and glass him for half the day. I'll most likely try to move in within an hour, within 30 minutes, move in as close as I can to be like within that 100 yards to get into my calling in sequences. So that's another thing. And so we have the hunting pressure, which is there's 3, 4, 5 times more rifle hunters than archery hunters. Then we have the weather. During archery, it's just a lot easier to move around because it's warmer. It's not pouring rain, it's not cold. You feel more energy. You can get out of your camp or rig quicker, faster. You load in, load out. I enjoy it more because you have to get really close to the animal to shoot him, so it becomes more like personal game. Because with rifle, like if you see an animal 300-400 yards away, okay, you just sit down, or like you just shoot it, but it's far. You don't experience the thrill of being like within 30 yards or like 20 yards of an elk that's bugling right into your face, or like the bushes that you're in, or the couple of trees that you're behind. And I like that. It's more of a thrill. It's more of a personal, I don't even know like call it. It's like more of like a game that you, at least for me, it's like, okay, this is becoming my life. I'm an elk hunter. I do my scouting throughout the year, and during the September, I take off time as much as I can to be in the forest as much as I can, because it's the only time that the bulls are actively bugling during the rut. They're looking for cows, they're fighting, they're marking their territory, and there's so much action going. It's not just the action that you observe from 500 yards, it's an action that you can be a part of, and it's a mental game that you have to be strong, because your whole point is to deceive the animal. You're going in, you're trying to deceive the bulls, or the bull that you're after, into thinking that you are one of them. And it becomes like a game that you're tricking them, you're playing on their curiosity, their anger, you're trying to manipulate them. You're trying to like create this tension for him to come out so you can shoot him. And at the same time, you have to make sure that he doesn't circle around you and get your wind. So it just becomes like the next level game. Rifle hunting is cool. I have nothing against rifle hunting. I still do that for like bears, and I'm most likely gonna start rifle hunting for elk in other states. But archery hunting it's more personal, because you have to get close. You have to learn, I like to call it elk psychology. You have to learn how they think, how they act, and how they talk, so you can become one of them, or at least you have to pretend that you're one of them, and you have to convince them until they have no doubt that you're one of them, and then he's gonna come running in thinking you're another bull in his territory, or you're another bull that is trying to steal his cows, or you have a cow of your own, and if you're ignoring him, he wants to come and fight you. So it's more of like that. Do I recommend people try archery hunting? If you have the time, if you have the money, if you want to try to level up your game, but I think it's gonna be a heavier investment, because it requires a lot more time. Like, you have to be passionate about it. Like, it requires a lot more time to scout your areas. You're going for longer. Another thing is that archery season is 30 days long in Oregon, roughly, and rifle season is only 4 to 5 days long. So it's not that your chances are higher if you're archery hunting, it's just that you have more time. Your season is longer, so you can prepare, you can scout more areas, you can take your time, and if it didn't work, you can come the next weekend, or the third weekend, or maybe even the fourth weekend, because your season is 30 days long. Versus rifle hunting, everyone's taking 4 days off, or that weekend off, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there's gonna be 60,000 people walking around the mountains trying to find elk. And there's 120,000 elk in Oregon, and there's gonna be 60,000 people trying to hunt elk, which to me, it's crazy. There's gonna be so many people driving around. Obviously, the animals, they feel the pressure. And it's pressure that they don't feel throughout the year. They can still be pressured by like wolves, bears, people who are camping and stuff. But when there's 60,000 people in the forest trying to find and chase those elk, the animals, they feel the pressure. So they go into this mode, next level survival mode. They will go into spots that they will never go into. They will be in like super thick, small pockets of forest that regular hunters are gonna be avoiding. They're gonna be driving by it, or they don't think to hunt there, or they're so hard to reach. They're so far, they're so hard to reach, those pockets. For people, the elk are gonna move in there for that week and stay there. That's why rifle hunters, their success rate is like 10% or something like that. I mean, archery hunting is similar. It's like 15%, 14%. But again, most of those people who are successful, half of them end up getting cows, spikes, and 5-pointers. Actually, no, even less. I think during the rifle season, only 10% of bulls harvested last year were actually 6-point bulls. So that's out of 60,000 people, only whatever amount of elk they shot, like 10%, whatever, less than 10% probably. Only 10% of those successful hunters get 6-point bulls. I want to get a 6-point bull every year. That's what I'm after, I want big, mature bulls. And most hunters, they shoot the first thing they see. So if it's a cow, if it's a spike, if it's a small bull, they're gonna be absolutely happy with that, and they shoot it. But if you wanna be in the top percent, if you wanna become a better hunter, then you have to start thinking differently. You have to do all of your scouting before the season starts. You have to prepare better. You have to literally have a plan of what are you gonna do once you get to that spot? Where are you gonna hike? And I build my routes on Onyx maps, exactly how I'm gonna hike through, how I'm planning to hike through. And then I go, and once I'm in the area, I attempt to hike through and see what the terrain is, because I need to know that before the hunting season starts. If I come to a new spot when the hunting season starts, if I come to a new spot, it takes me 3 days to just get familiar with the area. I somewhat know the terrain, and I can tell where most likely the elk are gonna travel through or where they are in this, I don't know, 20 square miles. And it takes me 3 days. It's just gathering information, it's doing the research. But if you do all of that before the season starts, then on opening day, you can actually start hunting. You can start like locating bulls. And when you get that good and organized, you'll have no problem finding elk, because most people, when the season opens, they go and they start scouting. They are hiking into places they've never been to before, so they have no idea what to expect. And what they assume the place is gonna be or how it's gonna look like is completely different when they get there, because they've never been there before. It could have overgrown, or they could have logged it, or it could have burned. They could have closed it off with gates, or maybe they opened the gates, unlocked the gates for the hunting season, and now there's 60,000 people driving through. So you gotta decide for yourself how serious you want to be, how much time you want to invest, how much energy you want to invest into this. Because if you're really passionate, then you should probably be more serious about it if you want to have good success or good results. So I understand a lot of people, they can't take time off from work and stuff, but you can at least go camping, scouting the area in the summer with your family, or just hiking through it to get familiar. And hopefully this season you're gonna prepare better, hunt smarter and harder, and have more fun. And I want to challenge you not to shoot any cows, not to shoot any spikes, not even to shoot any small 5-point bulls, raghorns. I want to challenge you to commit to only trophy hunting, because when you commit to trophy hunting or shooting big mature animals, that's when you get better. Because as soon as you shoot a cow or a spike, your hunt is over. You're not gonna gain that experience of calling in another bull and another one and another one. So you have to, if you really want to get good, then you have to say no to all the small bulls, cows, spikes, and go after the big ones, because the more experienced you are, the more elk interactions you have with animals, you get more confident, you get better at calling, better at scouting, and more efficient at hunting. And when you get that good, you will not have a problem going in and finding elk. Subscribe to my channel if you like my information, if you like my videos. Comment what you want me to talk about, or if you think that I have something wrong. Also comment if you want me to do another statistics report about Oregon or Washington, either elk population or certain areas where the population of elk, or maybe the hunting statistics, how much people harvest the bulls, in what areas, rifle versus archery, if you want those kind of videos. Or maybe you want to go more in depth about calling techniques, or if you want to know how I do the e-scouting or the actual boots on the ground scouting, how I find my elk hot zones, choose my areas where I want to hunt, and just tell me everything in the comments, or you can send me an email. It's going to be in the description. So yeah, thank you. Subscribe to my channel and stay tuned, because I'm trying to pass on my knowledge to other people on YouTube who are trying to get into this game. If you have been hunting for a couple of years and you're not finding any elk, that just most likely means that you're doing the wrong things. So stay tuned.